Hi there. We are continuing on our AI series, specifically AI for HR. So the focus is specifically on talent and organizational effectiveness. And today we're talking specifically about talent predictive analytics. And we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of using generative AI to help inform us and make decisions regarding specifically using predictive analytics regarding talent. And then we're going to also share some examples of companies that are doing it, given the fact that I know that is a great interest of what companies are there to use. And I'm not going to make any suggestions, but I will share some popular companies that are currently providing generative AI in their predictive analytics, specifically for talent. So let's jump into the cons. I always like to get the negative part out the way first. So one specific con of using generative AI for predicting talent efforts and talent movements, things of that nature. And I will say this is a challenge or a con probably for any generative AI that is integrated with your systems in-house. And that is the challenge, the risk of data privacy and security. That is very real. As we know, there are security breaches that happen all the time, data breaches that happen all of the time. And so generative AI is no exception. So a lot of times with a lot of the softwares that we're seeing, yes, some you can bring in-house and put on your own platform and fully own the data, but a lot of them, the way that they operate, they have to talk to your HR system. And so in that respect, that requires a lot of trust with regard to the way that they do things, the type of cybersecurity that they use, and the level that they are compliant as they should be regarding employee and any other type of sensitive data. But yes, that number one con, or at least challenge, is a risk of a data breach, data security, data privacy. Another con, or challenge at least, is that algorithmic bias. Again, all the information that is coming out of generative AI is, at this point at least, coming from human beings, from historical data. And so if we know it's coming from human beings, then we know there is some level of risk for bias. And so that does not completely go away when we are using technology. There are obviously the benefit of reducing bias, and we'll talk about that, but there is that bias that goes into the algorithm. So that algorithmic bias challenge is a potential con. Lack of transparency is another one. And you might find this one interesting, but the reason why we say this is because while we understand generative AI is coming from human beings, we don't fully understand where the information is coming from. We don't know that A plus B equals C a lot of times when we are receiving information from generative AI. We know some of the sources that it's pulling from, but we don't know how all of it is being calculated and completion. And so that can lead to a lack of transparency regarding how data is used in your organization. And then another challenge or con is, again, over-reliance on technology. And this is going to be with any of these systems. You have to keep human hands on it. You have to keep it updated, making sure that you are catching errors that may be coming out, so that human interaction is vital in ensuring that your organization is not becoming overly reliant on technology. And then the last con or challenge is that cost to build. While in the long run it should save you significantly, a lot of times this does require an investment up front in order for you to make the system worthwhile for your organization. Now let's talk about the good stuff, the pros and the benefits that you can reap by using generative AI to make predictive decisions regarding your talent. First and foremost, they can predict it, and they can predict it in a much faster way than human beings often can. These different aspects relating to talent, and help you to plan accordingly much more quickly at a much faster pace. So this goes to career pathing, for example. You can use predictive AI to specifically look at if someone is in a certain role with certain skill sets, with certain experiences, where can they go in your organization? Well, generative AI can help you to predict that with greater accuracy. So especially good for career pathing. Retention risks. Generative AI can be used to predict which employees have the higher retention risk, who requires the most attention right now, and what type of attention based on what's going on in their lives. It can predict success likelihood for an employee joining another team or moving from one role to the next, given their background. Generative AI can predict or explain reasons for turnover. Should you expect a higher level of turnover in your organization? Generative AI can reduce, as I said earlier, reduce the time that it takes for you to make decisions because you get that type of input, that type of information much faster. And while it might sound like a contradiction on the con side, ultimately it can reduce bias because it's using standardized information versus that subjectivity that we as human beings often use to make decisions. Now, as we talk about what organizations are providing these predictive talent analytics, so there are many you can reach out to provide such analytics. Again, I am not suggesting any, I am just sharing those that exist per request and leaving it to you to explore these organizations on your own. There is organizations like Eightfold AI, HireVue, Ascendify, Phenom People, Vizier, which is widely known. Some of these are widely known organizations. Do your own due diligence, your own research to identify and discover whether or not any of these products, these organizations, will be complementary to the current needs of your organizations. If you need any help doing that, feel free to reach out and we can help you on your journey to your AI and HR integration. Have a great day. If you have benefited from this, and feel free to share with any colleagues who you think may benefit, and have a wonderful day.